Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Monday evening. How did the day go? I trust it went well. As we oftentimes know, Monday, if we've done our preparation, and if we have a little bit of good luck and good fortune, it can be a good start to the week. However, many of us know that things can come together to make a Monday a difficult time. Well, let's see if we can perhaps make it a better ending no matter what happened, because I'd like to take a few minutes just to introduce you to some ideas that might be helpful to you, particularly as we come to this holiday time and perhaps as we're thinking about what we need to do differently in the year before us. I'm Stan Houston. It's Interesting Ideas, and today that's my subject. The power of thinking outside of your brain, or how to be smarter than your smart stuff. That's right, how to be smarter than your smart stuff, because that's what we're going to have to do. Let's see where these things lead us. I'm Stan Houston. Interesting Ideas. And as we say, from now on, the program is Interesting Ideas for Our Changing World. The program begins right now. Yes, thank you very much for still being around. Hey, can I do just a little bit of a review? Last week I had a video and the radio production where I talked about on December 7th, Pearl Harbor Day, how one of my great mentors, the famous broadcaster and motivational teacher, Earl Nightingale, literally survived, as he said. I was at the back of the boat, and that blew me off into the water. And as a young 20-year-old Marine, he survived the Pearl Harbor episode, went on to become a world-class broadcaster, a business consultant. The Earl Nightingale Conant Company provided hundreds, thousands, perhaps millions of motivational records, cassettes, and CDs, and continues on teaching people how to live well and do business well. And very much, he was very much a part of me trying to start my life over again. And then, of course, I speculated on the tragedy of the death of passing 42 years ago of John Lennon. And obviously a brilliant man, an incredible artist, and the thoughts of what might have been if he could have lived to be not only a wealthy, but a healthy older man. Well, yesterday I talked about my friend who couldn't be more excited. He's in, he won't tell me exactly, but I'm sure it's in, like me, kind of we're well into the 70s. And he started a new career. Just started over again. And as I say, he failed retirement. He can't stay retired. He has work to do and an encore project to make happen. And one of the things we're going to try and help people do is understand that this literally could be the best stage of your life, and it may have nothing to do with improving your golf game or just taking time off or traveling more. It could be that you have so much wisdom, insight, and truth inside of you that to live well, you're going to have to work and speak and write and perform, and most importantly, help bring more hope into the world. For those people who are of my age and stage, that's my challenge. You're in your encore years. One of the things you need to make a part of your life is to bring more hope into the world. We've been there, done that. We have some stars. We got lots of scars. And for the most part, I guess we're okay. And we're dealing with some difficult things. And perhaps we can be the ones in the midst of the malaise and obviously the great difficulties that our children and grandchildren are going through, hopefully we can be a source of all good stuff. And speaking of that, again, I was challenged by a new book that I have to get because I saw the summary, which is happening all the time. It's called The Extended Mind, The Power of Thinking Outside the Brain. The Power of Thinking Outside the Brain. And it is written by Anne Murphy Paul. Anne Murphy Paul. She says, Annie, I'm proud of her. She says, Annie, she lives with it. Yeah, she has the familiar name, going by it, Annie Murphy Paul. Incredible excerpt in The Extended Mind, The Power of Thinking Outside the Brain. Here's the problem, and we all know it's the case. Recently, we were fortunate enough to, we decided we're out of the car buying business. We don't want to deal with that anymore. So we decided that we would get a modest automobile and we would lease it. And for 3 years, at our age and stage, we don't have to worry about the warranty or repairs or anything like that. We will just enjoy it and then bring it back and get a different one. And I found out that many people of my age and stage are now discovering that that is a smart thing to do. Just lease the automobile. Well, we did that. And in effect, guess what we discovered? That car is really smart. Of course, it's a smart car now. Just like my phone is a smart phone. And of course, we just had some communication. My wife and I really support Tunnels to Towers, that organization that is helping build smart homes for catastrophically wounded veterans and first responders. We think that's a wonderful organization. And again, came out of the tragedy of the death of one of their family members who died in 9/11. And smartphone, smart cars, smart cameras, you name it. And truly, it takes a while for us to figure out how to work with smart stuff. It becomes a real exercise, a real challenge. That leads us to the proverbial line that some of us sometimes hear. Well, if you can't figure this out, ask your children or ask your grandchildren, because they were brought up with that kind of technology. And of course, they learn faster. They don't learn better than we do, but they learn faster, and they pick that up more naturally. And so they can oftentimes figure things out before we can. And we lived in a retirement village. And of course, there was a group of 3 young men. Loved them. They were smart enough. They set up a computer shop right in the shopping area of this significant Arizona village. And guess what? They made a great living. They weren't rich or powerful, but that was their job. Helping those of us do the technology and the computer and stuff like that. And they were so wonderful, so helpful, kind of almost like grandchildren to some of us. But we could always go in there, and oftentimes they would do things for free, just give us some advice. But of course, they had reasonable but good fees for any of the repair or any of the products they did for us. And if something went wrong, we just knew we could put the machine into our car, take it down to them, and they could usually get it figured out for us. And as one of them said, if we can't fix it, no charge. Wonderful marketing. If we can't fix it, no charge. They'll just let us know. So how do we deal with smart stuff? That's the question I'd like us to think about this week. We're going to deal with Smart stuff. Now, I'm going to give you one clue about where we might want to go. So just stay tuned, and we'll be back to think about that. Here we go. Thinking outside the brain. What do we mean by that? Well, what Annie says is that something that I have come to believe in, and I think it's been demonstrated. The extended mind. Now, most of us have a vision that all of the good stuff happens up in that little piece of muscle or whatever it is inside our skull. The brain, of course. And what is pointed out is that what we did with the advent, in fact, the first computer that was actually created in 1948 weighed 30 tons and probably didn't even have the power of something in your cell phone today. But it was a remarkable machine, and it was called an electronic brain. And as a result of that, we began to think of the brain very much as like a computer, garbage in, garbage out. And put good stuff in, you can get good stuff out. And it was basically the thing that gave us our calculations, gave us our information. Everything was somehow in that spot called the brain. Now that wasn't working quite well, so more and more people began to think of that it actually is alive, so it's more of a muscle. That, just like you can work your muscles and exercise your muscles, you can exercise your brain. And of course, we're taught, okay, do the crossword puzzles, do the exercises, do the reading, do those things, because it's not just a computer, it's a living muscle. And you can have good muscle tone, so you can either take the right pills or gather in good information or do the kinds of exercises, and that you could build up your brain. So it would be a better muscle. And obviously, if you could put good stuff into it, it would be a better computer. But we are fearfully and wonderfully made, as one of my heroes who wrote about our entire body says. In effect, the greatest proof of the existence of God is you. You're remarkable. Just think what you can do. Think how you're made. Could that be a random accident? Well, some of us sometimes feel like we are a random accident. But no, that's not who we are. And what we are now discovering is that our entire body is part of the mental, not only the physiological, but part of the mental processes. That it's not just our brain, we have an extended mind. And things that we actually do with our bodies and with our information become very, very much a part of who we are mentally, emotionally, spiritually. In effect, we need to think outside the brain and cultivate activities and situations that are not brain focused, maybe brain based in some respects, but we have an extended mind. So I really encourage you to think about this, because what I'd like to then even suggest, because what happened to me was I discovered that what I'm doing right now is very, very good for my brain and my well-being. How could that be? Well, of course, talking to you and enjoying your fellowship and friendship, that's good for me. Certainly is. But there may be more to it than that. So here we are, 15 minutes. Don't need to go on much longer. It's Monday. I want you to think about this. You've got lots of smart stuff. How are you going to deal with it? Now, in most cases, don't. Just learn what you need to know and go with it, and find a good friend to help you if you need help. But it truly is overwhelming. But on the other hand, we have to be able to compete in a world, and particularly our children and grandchildren are going to have to compete in a world where things are getting smarter and smarter and smarter. And truly, artificial intelligence, which is a contradiction in terms, is increasingly a bit of a reality, which is going to make a lot of things very different in terms of our life, our careers, the jobs we have, and the well-being that we seek. How can we do that? Right now, we do not have leadership in the world to help us deal with that. They don't know how. But you and I have to find ways of being very good at ourselves that way, and then finding leadership, spiritual, emotional, physical, professional, political leadership that will help us live well and increasingly in a stupid, smart world. Hey, all the best. Reach out to me at stanhouston@gmail.com, stanhouston@gmail.com. Witradio.net will introduce you to what you need to do to have a better brain, have a better mind, and that's to learn how to speak on the radio. So we'll be in touch. Have a good week, and think about how you can become smarter. Best and blessings, and all the best and more power to you. Get ready to celebrate the comfort, joy, and as we said the other day, the crisis of Christmas. Bye for now.